If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? You'll fade the words I will show.
I feel like we need long hair sometimes just to do the headbanging. Happy Wednesday to everyone in the sports universe. This is the AM Drive, and we are live. It is October 4th, 2023, for Aaron Crouch in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am Michael Carbellis in Savannah-ish, Georgia. Aaron, how's your last 2 days been, sir?
Why don't you just say where you are? Like, you're nowhere. You're not Savannah. If you're not Savannah,
Guyton, no one knows where that is.
but maybe you can put them on the map. They'd be like, "Hey, man, you heard of Guyton, Georgia? Oh yeah, that's where that guy Michael Carvellis from the AM Drive is from." You know,
I want to be there from there. I don't know, man.
You live there, so c'est la
Fair
vie.
point.
I'm not from Las Vegas, Nevada, but you still continue to say that. Why? Because I live
In
there.
Las Vegas, Nevada is Aaron Crouch. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing well overall after that little tangent. I would like to give a special shout out to my wife. It is our anniversary today. 3 years ago, we were married. And so, and now we have an awesome little guy that she is like the best mom ever too. I know every husband says that, but you know, she really flipped a switch when it came to having a kid. And I just wanted to, give her a special shout out since we're not gonna be able to celebrate today. So shout out to you, Des. I love you.
Oh, see, we do have lives outside of work.
In Savannah-ish, Georgia.
Yes. Okay. Head to MikeandAaronDrive.com because that was adorable. It's our shop sponsors, socials, and YouTube all in one place. We've got a big show today. We got top fives, college football previews, Thursday night football, and let's start off with baseball. But first, we got to do this one. Monday night football was 2 days ago. Good Lord. Thank God, too, because the effect is wearing off on my brain. Seahawks
You're trying to.
Yeah, Seahawks defeat the Giants 24-3. Daniel Jones was sacked. Let's count him, Aaron. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. We should put a little pebble in a jar. I saw it in a murder trial once. I thought it was interesting.
I figured you were putting dollars in the swear jar at that point.
All of that, man. Listen, I feel like every time the Giants don't have Saquon Barkley, it's like Daniel Jones can manage with Saquon in the offensive line, but when he doesn't have anybody, it's like, I don't know, what is he supposed to do at that point? Like you saw Evan Neal, the clip of like Evan Neal like trying to block air, and then Bobby Wagner like literally tries to evade him. Oh, this guy's not even touched me, goes straight to Daniel Jones. It's insane.
Well, it's funny because I think you're the one that told me that Saquon's just no run, nothing, boom, long run. So
Bingo.
Would Saquon even have mattered last night or 2 nights ago?
The offensive line it's a brutal thing, especially with no Andrew Thomas. Because that's like it's like the Colts with Quentin Nelson. That's the one guy they paid, and when he's not there, the whole thing falls apart. Yeah,
it's wild. I mean, it's one thing when I say to you got to spend money on the offensive line, but when they're not in there, it's like you can only do so much. But not to let your boy off the hook. Even when he had time, he was pretty putrid. That whole team was just pretty putrid. I mean, Darren Waller, 2 targets in the game. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, you acquired him for a 3rd-round pick. I expected him to be somewhat, invested in the offense here, and they just, I don't know. I mean, I got to put some blame on Brian Dable with this. I'm not going to put it all on Daniel Jones, but there is a large quantity of it on him too. You see that your offensive line can't protect anybody. I mean, it's the Matador defense times a million. It is so bad. I mean, it was really bad 2 nights ago. But
here.
Yeah, exactly. They just let them walk right through. I mean, 10 sacks. Teams don't even have 10 sacks right now in a season. So, Dable, I mean, are you not cooking up some screens? Are you not cooking up some short passes, some dumps? Like, you continue to let him drop back 3 and 5 steps knowing full well you guys could not block anything. I don't understand it. Like, some of this blame has got to go on Dable. I know if you watch the replay, like Dable like throws the tablet, in the direction of Daniel Jones, and he's like, they're acting like, well, he's sick of Daniel Jones. Well, he's got some blame on this one too, because let's be honest, like, he was the quarterback whisperer, this and that, and Josh Allen was going to suffer, and this, that, and the other, and it's like, well, Josh Allen's doing just fine, and and when your quarterback played well, it was to the tune of 15 touchdowns. So let's pump the brakes on some Brian Dable right now. I mean, you led the Giants to a 9-win season last year, like, and you're 1-3 now, and I think you scored 10 points in the first half.
I'm glad you said that, because I was gonna put a little bit of like percentage of blame on Daniel. Oh, good Lord, on Brian Dable, because it does feel like, why is the offense? I mean, you have guys like Paris Campbell, Matt Breida can catch passes as a running back. I mean, why would you run him into the ground? He ran like 14 times for like 30 yards. Like, why are we doing that with Matt Breida? Dudes are receiving back into the. You can't do that. They have like 5 guys on the offensive line on IR. Like, this is disgusting. You can't do that stuff.
Yeah, he's just not thinking about. He's not adapting to what he has on the field. I mean. Right. Let's be honest. This is exactly why they didn't want to pay Saquon, because he's going to be out 4 or 5 games this year. And I mean, at 1-3 in that division, you got to think, unless something just goes on a sick run, you're done with the division at this point, in my opinion. I mean, you have 3-1 Dallas, and you have 4-0 Philadelphia, and you have 2-2 Washington, who looks like a juggernaut compared to you. So for me, offensively, the Giants have to, like, their best option right now is like 6th or 7th wild card at this point.
7th. Yeah, let's not do 6th. Come on, don't do that to other teams.
I mean, there are still some spots here where you can go on a little 3 or 4 game run, get back in this. But, I mean, they got Buffalo and Miami the next 2 weeks. I mean, if they're 1-5, what are we doing here?
As a coach, you have to adapt. I agree. I think they're not doing so.
You flip Saquon?
We already have the chance to do that. No, the Giants cannot do that right now, because you've already, because you paid the guy. You've already gone through the whole contract BS, and now you want to. Why would they flip him? It would make no sense. I don't think
he's going to be a Giant next year anyway. So if you can get a 3rd round pick for him, I mean, if you're 1-5 to start the season, I think their intention was to run him into the ground his last year, and whether he sees that or not, I don't know, but he's already hurt. I mean, 4 games into the season, he's already hurt. I'd flip him if I'm 1-5.
It's not 1-5 yet, so be careful on that.
I'm just saying, they're playing Buffalo and Miami the next 2 weeks.
I think Miami's defense can be had, but that's about it. Maybe if you don't have a Saquon, I don't know if you can get him anyways.
I'm going to say, not had by the Giants. They could be had by the Bills, sure.
Great. All right.
The best they'll be is 2-4. So,
right. Major League Baseball postseason. Rangers defeat the Rays 4-0. I actually got the Rangers because you picked the Rays 3rd in your World Series draft. So I got the Rangers with my next pick, and Game 1 feels pretty good. Did you know that the Rays had a playoff attendance low in the MLB since 1919? What is with the Tampa Bay fans right now? Why are we not? I thought those fans were good.
Well, they are good, but the problem, I mean, there's 2 problems here. They've always, I've told you that as long as the Rays are in St. Pete, which unfortunately it looks like they're going to be there for a long time because the proposed stadium is now still in St. Pete, right next to the site of current Tropicana Field. As long as the Rays are in St. Pete, they are going to have attendance troubles. They just are. Like the city of St. Pete is, first of all, it's already a small population. Secondly, it's a lot of retirees who are not going to go to a game. And the other half is there's a lot of poverty in St. Pete as well. So who's going to this game? Okay, people from Tampa. I don't want to drive 45 minutes to a game. One, I don't want to drive 45 minutes to a game where my car is in danger. And secondly, it's 3:00 in the afternoon on a work day. You're already behind the 8 ball with that. Like, I was shocked 20,000 people showed up.
After covering the NLL last season, I do question if 20,000 was even a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I do wonder if those are actual numbers or not.
Looking at the crowd when they panned on it, if you told me it was 20,000, I think it's believable. It may have been like 17 or 18, I don't know, but if you said there's 20,000 people here, I'm like, yeah, it checks out. Now on a Wednesday night in May, if you told me there was 20,000 people in Tropicana Field, I wouldn't believe you.
It is sad that the franchise knows that the city is small and they know about I want to know why Major League Baseball schedules things on a Tuesday? That's just weird to me. Even
Yeah,
the
I thought
NBA
this
can
was
find
terrible.
some weekend stuff.
I thought it was terrible. I don't understand why you don't drag this out for ratings and TV and try to get. I mean, for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, you've got prime time. I mean, and maybe even Thursday with the fact that a lot of people don't have Amazon. So try Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, spread out your series and spread out your games. I mean, yeah, for me, Tuesday afternoon on a work day, like, what are you doing? Like, come on,
And the
baseball.
NBA will like take a day or two off in between first round playoff games. So like, why won't the MLB just like instead of bombing them, like killing them? You can't do that during the postseason. It's just stupid marketing.
I think it's it's terrible scheduling. I mean, the MLB, I don't understand. I mean, you have ESPN who literally showed all the games. I saw a Twitter snippet that's basically during first take, they didn't talk about it at all. They didn't have anybody on regarding baseball. They did one ad read. Like, you guys paid for the rights for this. What are you doing?
And the PLL got, I think, more than that when they came about. So that's weird. That's really weird.
I don't know. And don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to hype up baseball like it's supposed to compete with basketball and football, but
on a Tuesday afternoon, it should, for crying out loud.
When you buy the rights to it, why are you not trying to hype it up? And why are you not working with Major League Baseball saying, like, we got to get these games in prime time? I don't know. It's just me. I don't understand it, especially on ESPN. Like, what else are you showing? I don't even know what else they showed it.
I don't know. Not anything at 8 o'clock, that's for sure.
I mean, I know the Phillies Marlins was the late game, but you could have had two games each night on prime time, like similar to your Monday Night Football debacle that you're doing, 2 East Coast time zone games. I don't know. To me, this is you're putting these games on at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock Eastern time. You deserve everything you get.
Do Rangers win game 2? You think they get them both?
Yeah, I feel like this was the one for the Rays to get, and I mean, I know I drafted them high, but like I thought maybe they'd overcome these injuries and this Wander Franco thing. They're not the same team without 2 of their starting pitchers and probably their best player. I think it's just tough.
Wow, it's sad how the postseason shows that quickly.
Well, that's the thing. Any series, these guys can get run over. In any series, and then you play it so fast, a 2 out of 3. I mean, that's a regular series. Like, that's a regular season series. I mean, you can get run over just as bad, in the postseason, just like that. I mean, look at Mike Trout. I mean, he's been in the playoffs twice. He hasn't won a playoff game yet. The Twins just won their first playoff game in 18 years.
Right.
And they've been in the playoffs probably half of those.
Diamondbacks beat the Brewers 6-3. I had the Diamondbacks as my 6th pick. You picked the Brewers. I'll be honest, I thought you killed the draft. Thankfully, you have the Braves and the Astros still, but day one, I did pretty good, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you got some good wins, and in a 3-game series to get up 1-0, I mean, you got to feel good about that. I mean, this game stayed close for a while. Diamondbacks eventually broke it out. Diamondbacks are a scrappy team. I mean, there's nothing you can say wrong about them. I mean, they pitch well, they play good ball. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if a lot of these road teams just take a series and never have to go home.
Evan Longoria made a spectacular catch. I did not see it, but it was all over the headlines, so it turned into a double play.
Nice.
Twins beat the Blue Jays 3-1. Do they take game 2? I think the Blue Jays will have something for them today.
Yeah.
Even the series.
Yeah, this one I think the series gets evened. We got Barrios versus Sonny Gray. I mean, Sonny Gray is no slouch though, so don't count out Minnesota just for the sake of tying the series. I mean, I'm a Sonny Gray guy, but yeah, I think ultimately the Blue Jays probably get a win here and tie the series.
And also, did you say I think Brewers could tie it against the Diamondbacks, but Diamondbacks are getting hot though. That's why that's why I was happy you picked the Twins for your last pick.
That's fair.
Phillies beat the Marlins 4-1. You said this was the nightcap game. I think Phillies are getting hot at the right time. I know they were kind of hot, like kind of late season a little bit, but then towards the playoffs they snuck in. I was like, man, this little fun team, they're scary when they get in there. And here they go. They beat the Marlins. I mean, it's 4-1 against the Marlins. I don't know what that is, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at it this way. They're the better team in this series, and they should win this. This is not shouldn't be a sweat, but you start letting Miami creep in, give them some hope, then they got a shot. But yeah, I think ultimately the Phillies, you got Nola going again tonight. They should close the door on this.
Goodbye, Miami. All right. It seems like Miami's had a really fun time the last few weeks. I don't know why. Right. Let's see your Dolphins. Okay, Heat. Okay. Rodney Harrison called Zach Wilson garbage. And Chris Jones was absolutely not buying it. I'm glad you showed me this clip. Aaron, it's not even the fact of like media doing this to Zach Wilson. What I'm more concerned about is why NBC have they said anything about this since then?
Not to my knowledge.
I mean, that was pretty ugly. People were not happy about it either.
Yeah, I mean, of course it was ugly.
Jones wasn't happy.
Yeah, well, yeah, I actually enjoyed his kill him with kindness, but let him know that you don't appreciate that. Like, I don't. I think that's 100% disrespectful, and I'm a Rodney Harrison guy. I think he tells it like it is. I understand that, but you're in a brotherhood. Now, you can say behind closed doors, we all say it because we're not affiliated media,
right.
But we all thought Zach Wilson was garbage coming into this. A lot of people still do, despite what happened on Sunday night. But you don't say that when millions of people are watching, and you definitely don't go to another member of the brotherhood to try to say that with you. Now, you can say, you can go about it saying, hey, look, we did the tape on Zach Wilson, and so far his play has been a little bit inferior to NFL standards or something like that, or he hasn't played as well as,
or not that good.
He just hasn't played that good or played that well, But to come on there and say somebody's garbage, that's just low class, in my opinion. I don't care who said it and to whom they said it to, but we don't walk around saying those kind of things, on a professional television. And if you want to say it, fine, and own it. I still don't like that. But then to try to egg someone else on and call him garbage, kudos to Chris Jones. To say, he's a fine young player, this, that, and the other. You could tell.
He's getting better,
in his eyes, you could kind of tell, Chris Jones was like, dude, what the hell are you doing? And then to double down on it, Rodney, was just absolutely just insensitive, in my opinion, and just unprofessional. I have already actually made a comment on Twitter one time about they were doing an interview. I think it was week 1. I think it was Dak. And, they already, him, Colin, the young Collinsworth, and I can't think of who the other one on there is, but they were already laughing at the Giants. It's like, hey, I get it. You guys want to have a podcast and talk about how bad they are, but when you're doing an on-air interview for millions of people, to sit there and goof around like it's a jam sesh, I don't know. NBC is slowly becoming a little more and more unprofessional, it seems. And Rodney Harrison is just kind of, I don't know if he's reached the peak yet. We'll see what they do. We'll see what they continue to do.
The thing I'll say about it is I feel like Rodney Harrison, I love that people pulled up the David Tyree catch over Rodney Harrison. That was just comical because the fact that people thought that was funny. I didn't appreciate, though, when you look Chris Jones, it's like they'll look him in his eye and act like, be honest, he's garbage. What? You can't. That's just weird. It's like, I understand.
What are you trying to accomplish?
He's baiting him, but it's like every last player, even the C.J. Mosley, Robert Saleh, they at least say he's getting better. So for you to look him in his eye and say, yo, be honest. Be honest. What do you mean be honest?
Even if you said
a cheapskate.
Even if you said, be honest, he's played pretty poor. I would accept that. To say, be honest, this dude's garbage. Come on. You just don't use that word against your other NFL brethren. You just don't. You can say whatever you want behind closed doors and you're not in front of a microphone. You want to do a podcast, that's fine. But on live TV, national television, in front of millions of people, you don't use that word, and you definitely don't try to bait somebody else into doing it with you. It was bad. He just doubled down on it. It was so terrible.
He sounded like a casual fan. The other guys just watched him and
yeah, I can't think of who the other guy on there was.
Tony Dungy and some other white dude.
Dungy, that's what it was. You could tell Dungy was real uneasy when he was like looking at his face. Yeah, that was a tough one. And you're right. I mean, a lot of people, Rodney Harrison, like had a great career. I think he's a Hall of Famer. If not, he's borderline. And a lot of people will remember him for letting David Tyree catch one on his helmet.
All right. Go to MikeandAaronDrive.com for the best in our shop, sponsors, socials, and YouTube all in one amazing place. When we come back, college football, but don't forget our top fives as well. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back here to the AM Drive, this Wednesday edition. We are presented by our friends at Agridime. If you're looking for the best and highest quality meats delivered directly to your door, visit our friends at Agridime by going to MikeandAaronDrive.com. When you're there, you can shop it to your heart's content, get all the greatest steak, beef, poultry, sausage, anything you can get your hands on, add it to the cart. Use promo code AMDrive for 10% off your entire order. Get it shipped straight to your door just in time for grilling. The end of grilling and, of course, smoking season as well. I know the weather's getting chilly, so break out those smokers. Agridime, AM Drive. It's a match made in meat heaven. Promo code AM Drive.
I like that one. I like that. That was good. Oh, and don't name the cow, for God's sake. If you invest in cattle, don't do it. NFL top 5, and it's disclaimer for me. I'll go first here. All teams must be 3-1. So there are 10 teams in the NFL that are 3-1, and I have chosen the 5 worthy candidates.
No 4-0 teams?
Well, yeah, 3-1 are better. I mean, 3-1 are better. Yeah, right. Number 1, staying at number 1 for 2 weeks in a row, are the San Francisco 49ers. Their fan base doesn't need any more praise than it gets. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens have crept up to number 2 because of the loss to our last number 2 team. Eagles have jumped to number 3. Chiefs are up to number 4. And the team that fell out was the Dolphins, but who jumped in? Buffalo or Dallas, one of your fan bases will be mad at me. The Cowboys are number 6. That's right. Bills are in the top 5 after not being there last week.
Wow. Josh Allen apologist right there.
Well, I mean, I got to give credit to 3 blowout losses against a good team.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's tough. I mean, for me, I have 2 teams out, 2 more teams in, 2 teams moving up. Number 1, of course, San Francisco. I mean, they just do everything perfect right now so far. It's just it's ridiculous. They just won a game handedly, and Debo did absolutely nothing. I mean, they don't need everybody all the time. It's crazy. Number 2, Philly. Their wins are getting a little bit squeakier, I'll tell you that, but their wins are wins in the NFL. Moving up to number 3, for me, of course, is those Kansas City Chiefs. I struggled if I was going to move them up or not. I think out of the 3 teams here, now I know we'll get to one of my teams, but after the 3 teams here, I think they've got just the best overall around talent, and they're obviously got the pedigree. So they went number 3 for me. Number 4 is the Dallas Cowboys. Now I struggled with 4 and 5. I feel like they're interchangeable at this point. Dallas ultimately has a worse loss in my opinion, but they've got better wins than this team in number 5. So Dallas slid into number 4 for me. And the Detroit Lions, yours, mine, ours, the Motor City Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell has got them in my top 5. They aren't in there 4 and 5. Like you said, with the Baltimore Ravens, I think they have such an ugly loss. I know it's your Colts. And then Buffalo has such an ugly loss as well on Monday Night Football when they had the game in hand with no Aaron Rodgers, with that garbage quarterback.
Right.
They ultimately slipped out or stayed out of my top 5 as well. And then, of course, we got to give love to the Seahawks. They're 3-1 as well after that debacle opening week against LA. So I'm San Francisco, Philly, Kansas City, Dallas, and Detroit are my top 5.
I've got Niners, Ravens, Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, but 6 through 10 for me because the other 3 and 1 are better teams. Cowboys, Dolphins, Lions, Buccaneers, Seahawks.
Ooh, wow, I wouldn't put the Buccaneers over the Seahawks, but you do you.
Their defense and Baker Mayfield are playing very well.
They are playing very well. I can 100% agree and attest to that. But if I match those two teams up right now, I don't know if the Buccaneers would stand a chance.
I think Baker is the white Geno at this point.
Trying to resurrect his career.
I mean, they're both doing good jobs, and I hope they both keep it up because it's nice stories.
I like it. I mean, at this point in time, we're not tanking, so I feel like at this point they should just go for the division, which of course they're in the lead right now.
Go for gold. All right. College football top 5 in news of course, in honor of the transfer portal that's now been closed the window on. So that means I guess we're going to get more transfers quicker. I don't know what that does to help things, but whatever. They now have less days to do it according to ESPN News this morning. Whatever. But since we are in transfer portal city, Aaron, would you like to do your college football top 4 plus 1?
Yeah, I struggled with this one more than I did the NFL, but ultimately I came up on on the same 5 teams, just in a little bit different order. UGA still number 1, but that gap is shrinking fast. But they're still number 1 for me. You know how I said you got to beat the champ to be the champ, and they haven't fallen off yet. So number 2, moving up with a convincing win. Or moving up, but staying in the same spot with a convincing win is Texas. We'll see what happens. Even if they lose to Oklahoma this week, but if it's a close one, they probably will stay in my top 5. Michigan moved up from 5 to 3. That's a product of Florida State being on bye week and USC probably closer game than we expected, especially at halftime. So Michigan moves up after killing Nebraska. USC number 4, they still got to win against a Colorado team. And then Florida State just not playing this week. They're going to stay in number 5 for me.
Tough for Florida State. Because they didn't stay in my top 5. Spoiler alert here. Number 1, Texas, still the cream of the crop. I trust Quinn Ewers more than I trust Carson Beck. Although I do think low-key was a good thing Georgia struggled with Auburn, because I feel like Georgia, they learned how to throw the ball late instead of just be this one-dimensional team with a game manager at quarterback. It might have helped them. But regardless, Texas number 1. Number 2, up to number 2 is Michigan. And number 3, falling to number 3 is now Georgia. Again, this week against Kentucky, we'll talk about it, but it's going to be tough for them. Number 4, entering the chat, is the Oregon Ducks. They're laying the lumber on teams. And number 5, falling to number 5, but still hanging on, is USC. But why is USC hanging on? Well, they got Caleb Williams. But on the other side, they've allowed 28-plus points 3 different times this year to pretty inferior opponents. Not a good look.
Yeah, I mean, they're in my top 5 simply because of their offensive just greatness right now. But you're right. I mean, when they get this matchup in with Oregon, which I think they play. I don't think they play until November, but let me check real quick.
Dang.
That's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, Oregon's got Washington coming up as well. I mean, there's going to be some fun. Yeah, 11-11 is the game against USC, but Oregon's got to go through Washington, Washington State, and Utah with or without Cam Rising. I don't know. We'll see, but that's the gauntlet for the next they got a bye week this week, but that's the gauntlet for the next 3 weeks after that. So
thank God they got a bye week.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I just, with Oregon, I don't know, maybe this is just bias and I shouldn't be thinking like this right now, but I just don't trust Bo Nix. I don't. In a big situation, I don't trust him. Now you can say, well, we got against Colorado. Yeah, well, it's turning out week by week that that's not that big of a situation. So, and there's a lot of good teams with Ohio State, Penn State. I mean, Penn State got out to a tough spot against Northwestern this week. Washington's good, although they had a tough matchup against Arizona for no reason. And then, like you said, Oregon, USC. Notre Dame is still a great team, in my opinion. And I know they're all the way down to 10 in the AP. So But this is an interesting spot. Like, no, there's no clear-cut dominant team. I mean, if you had to argue one, maybe it's Michigan right now. But even then, I think they can be had.
I do too. I think Michigan and Texas are number 1 and 2 in terms of like who I trust right now. But I really don't trust either of those guys, like you said.
Agreed.
All right, we got 3 college football games to get to here. Unranked but almost ranked Maryland are receiving some votes. It's Tua's brother, Talia. On the road, number 4, Ohio State. Ohio State's favored by 19.5. The total's at 58. Or it could be 20 and 57.5 in some spots, regardless of where you get it. Again, Talia is very good. Again, Talia against a very good defense. Maryland has been putting up points. These two have a similar matchup here, a common opponent. Terps, when they were at home, beat Indiana 44-17. When Ohio State was on the road against Indiana, it was 23-3. I believe Ohio State wins the game 34-27, but I think Maryland keeps it within 2 touchdowns, maybe 10 points here. I think Maryland could hang around in this game just a little bit, but I think Ohio State ends up getting them because their defense at home.
Yeah, this is a tough one because this is a big number that I would not expect to see based on the performances of both of these teams. Nothing against Ohio State, but they've had, with the exception of Western Kentucky, they've been in dogfights, quote-unquote dogfights all year. So, I mean, 19.5 points, 58 I like better because you're right. I mean, if we're going to get some scoring, if we're going to get a close game, I think we're going to get something that pushes that total. Ohio State, usually this is the time of the season they get right and they get in their stride. Can we trust Kyle McCord to really be, the next great Ohio State quarterback? I don't know. They're 1-3 against the spread this year, and so it's tough for me to lay that. I mean, gun to my head, do I think? Yeah, I'd probably take Maryland with getting almost 3 touchdowns. This thing has gone up from 17. I'm wondering if you wait a little bit, a couple more days, if this thing will get pushed up to close to 3 touchdowns if you'd like Maryland. But I don't know. I'd probably tip the scales on an over game here. The only thing I can't see this thing getting over is Maryland just can't score. I mean, Ohio State's defense is good. Maryland hasn't faced an opponent quite like Ohio State's defense. So if it comes back down to like 17, I'd probably lay the lumber with Ohio State.
I think it was the Indiana game, the fact that it was home and away, and they both were like, Ohio State kind of struggled to put up points. I feel like it was similar enough to where I could see this thing getting within 14 points or so. Yeah. But I do agree. If that thing is 21, please. I think Ohio State wins it, obviously. Number 12, Oklahoma. Actually, number 8 for me, but whatever. We're 12, Oklahoma, and number 3, Texas. Quinn Ewers, I believe, is going to show some running ability. He showed it last week against Kansas. Well, the corpse of Kansas at the end of that game. Texas is favored by 6.5. The total is 60.5. I had 48-35 before I knew that because I feel like Dylan Gabriel can put up some points himself. But Texas, to me, I know that we're still banking on the Alabama win, but Alabama has shown that they may not be as bad as we once thought. I think I like Texas to win by a touchdown, maybe 10 points, but I think we can just sneak over that 6.5.
Yeah, I think this line's it's already bumped up from 5.5 to 6.5. I don't know if that was the beginning of the week, but I think this thing will come back down if you're a Texas backer. I think this thing will come back down to 6, maybe 5.5 again. Yeah, I think Texas is the better team. And just I don't trust Dylan Gabriel in big spots. I don't. I've seen enough of them that I don't trust him. This game might be back and forth or close. I mean, the Red River rivalry, there's points galore in this game every year. Even if Oklahoma didn't score any last year, they got shut out. Yeah, I think this is a clear 7 to 10 point win for Texas as long as Quinn Ewers stays upright. And you can take what you want with the total. I mean, it can go under if Oklahoma doesn't score, and then if they do score, then this thing could fly over by halftime. So you never really know with that. So I'm going to give the credit to these defenses a little more and say this game will not fly over. But I'll take Texas. I'll take Texas by 7 to 10 as well.
I also think Oklahoma has 0 run game, and Texas actually has a running game, and that also factored in my decision why Texas pulls away.
I think B. John Robinson's going to play this week.
Give me a break. I know Oklahoma's running back is not doing anything. Texas running back at least is trying.
Yeah,
I don't know his name though. Number 20 Kentucky and number 1 dinero Georgia. Okay, again, did Carson Beck grow up at Auburn? Maybe. These two teams have a common opponent, and you're like, well, who could that be? Well, it's Ball State, actually. Georgia beat Ball State 45-3 at home, and Kentucky beat Ball State 44-14, which is mighty similar. Both teams actually struggled in the first quarter of those games, which is also very weird. And Kentucky actually ran the ball better than Georgia did in those games, like if you're comparing the two. I know it's only Ball State. I think Georgia sneaks away with a win only because they're at home. But favored by 14.5 and 14, boo. No sirree. I got Georgia barely.
You got to wonder why Georgia's giving 2 touchdowns. I mean, I know they're at home. Look at the last time these two teams played. It was in Kentucky. It was 16-6, and that was with Stetson Bennett. So for this one, you got to be like, well, how are they giving 14.5 again back-to-back weeks? I think Kentucky is the second best team in the SEC East. So I know the Florida Gators are there. I know Tennessee's there, but I watched the way Kentucky's played the last 2 weeks, and I think they're absolutely up for a challenge.
They're nasty, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can Devin Leary keep it out of Georgia's hands? He throws a lot of picks. That's the scary thing.
Ooh.
But I can't. I mean, I laid the lumber with Georgia last week, and they almost lost that game. So I can't, in good conscience, be back on Georgia. But for some reason, like I'm looking at this preview here right now, and 85% of the action is going in on Kentucky, which usually means my contrarian viewpoints have to come into play here. So I'm off it, but if I had to, I'd probably lay Georgia. I don't know why. I just feel like I need to be on the other side of 85% action.
It does make you wonder if it's been bet that many times. Why? Like it should be more than that. Because if Georgia had beaten Auburn by like 20, well, how big is this line?
I think it's still probably around the same because of what Kentucky did to Florida last week. If Kentucky was in a tight one against Florida, I think this line might be 17 and a half or something like that.
I think the Ball State thing is very interesting that Kentucky ran all over them and Georgia could not find the run game. That was very telling to me about how this matchup might go.
No, they still both crushed them.
Yeah, but it wasn't pretty for Georgia. I mean, they have 45-3. It's all defense, but it's like, can their defense just keep doing that against a run game? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, they're 1-3 at home against the spread, so why should anything change right now? Carson Beck is still he's just struggling to find his feet.
He's a baby.
Yeah, he is. Is he a true freshman? I think he's true or a red shirt.
I know he was there last year.
Okay. Well,
he was on the bench doing something last year.
I definitely am rooting for Kentucky to win this game, but I'm going to stay away from it from a betting standpoint. I don't see the value in really either team. I mean, if the play would be Kentucky, but like I said, 82% of the action here on this site is towards Kentucky, which makes sense. But sometimes a lot is too much. I have a buddy that I work with. When he likes a game so much, we know to fade it because when he gets too involved in it, he knows he's just wrong. He's a mush.
Who's the buddy? Like, does a buddy ever see him on Facebook?
Yeah, Tom. You know Tom.
Is it Deets?
It's Deets. Yes.
Deets made the show. He needs to keep coming on. He needs to come on the show, man. I'm tired of just talking about him.
I've tried. He's a very shy boy.
Shame on him. We'll be right back. Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Don't go anywhere.
Doesn't sound the same.
I'm the Giants defense. Offensive line. I ruined that. I can't believe that.
Their defense was mimicking it too, so you're probably good in that spot. Welcome back here to the AM Drive, presented by our friends at Shank It Golf. Go to shankitgolf.com if you want to look your best on the course while playing your worst. 15% off of your entire order when you use the promo code AM Drive. If you forget the name, it's okay. I know Shank It Golf can be a little bit confusing. Just go to mikeandaarondrive.com, click the logo that looks just like that in the corner. And then once again, promo code AM Drive for 15% off your order.
And for that, we are hashtag Shankful.
Oh boy, I think you should say that. That's your thing.
I agree. I don't know. We're also very shankful. This game's on Amazon Prime, so everyone can not watch it. Thursday Night Football, the Bears and the Commanders. Okay. You want to know the funny thing is, you told me about common opponents a couple of years ago or a year ago. These two teams have a very weird common opponent. It's the Broncos.
The Broncos, yeah.
Those games went very differently for both these teams. Bears led the Broncos 28-7, but lost. Commanders trailed the Broncos, but won. That's interesting. It's kind of like I don't know what we're looking at there. So Bears also have locker room issues. Thursday games suck. I got Commanders to win the game 24-14. Give me the Commanders to cover the 6.5, 5.5, whatever it is. It was a 6.5 this morning.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I look back and obviously, a different quarterback situation because Sam Howell wasn't in the game last year, but I think they played this game on a Thursday night in Chicago and it was 12-7. I don't know if you remember that game. It's really bad. I think we get another clunker. Thursday Night Football just brings out the worst in teams. Well, it's just too quick of a turnaround. Even if you did Friday Night Football, I think it would be okay. But
that'd be fun.
I'm gonna take the dog in this one, not to win outright, but I think we get a very close, a la similar to Washington's first game against the Cardinals this season. I know that the Bears are not better than the Cardinals, but I feel like they're going to keep them right there. They're going to stay right there. Justin Fields, albeit they lost last week, you got to feel like he's got to have some confidence. He played well. I mean, not overall, but statistically, he played pretty well. Now, Washington's defense they've been kind of suspect this year. So I'm going to say that this game is 20-17. Washington wins, Chicago covers.
18-15. How's that sound?
Just as bad.
Would that be a scoregami?
I don't know. I can't imagine it would be, but I don't know for sure. 6
field goals to 5 field goals would be disgusting.
I will not watch this game, but I'll take Chicago.
I'll take people.
This thing might even go up to 7. So by game time,
that'd be gross. I'm sorry.
If you like the Commanders, it's a prime teaser spot. So
you love being tickled.
Oh Jesus, just a little bit.
Come on.
All right, it's gonna do it here for us for this AM Drive on a Wednesday. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys on Friday with, of course, an NFL preview. Our AM Drive 5. Good morning, Michael. And all the good stuff. It's NFL week number 5. So for Michael Carvelis, I'm Aaron Crouch saying enjoy the rest of your sports week. We'll see you guys on Friday. And, of course, gamble responsibly. And as always,
drive safe.